Okay, now that I have people listening to me talk to myself for about an hour and a half, hello, welcome to anyone else who didn't watch this while I was streaming it. Um, I'm going to be finally ranking all of these beautiful vehicles you all see here because I've been wanting to do this for a while. It needs a little update, The other one I'm confident in, but not confident enough in. So, we start to now. There's a few things I must say though. First of all, I'm not ranking any stupid glitched vehicles, which means that Doom Buggy will not be taken into consideration at all because the vehicle itself is broken, and I'm not ranking glitched Volt because that vehicle is also in itself not a thing that exists because it's glitched. I will be ranking on glitched Volt. Second thing, water vehicles are they are completely out of the balance realm of this game. It's completely weird and whack. They are here. So, excuse me. And also, again, not ranking Glitch Jet G because that's still a glitch, and glitched vehicles typically transcend the typical vehicle balance system, and it's just not okay, so I will not rank it. And then, basically every vehicle that is in low tier or higher is good, and I do mean good. There are very few legitimately bad vehicles in this game because everything with level 5 engine is just not terrible. Except the few vehicles I'll mention first. So, first, in my opinion, the vehicle that you probably should never ever use for any reason is the dirt bike, simply because Super Patrol Bike exists. We will get into that later, and it's literally a patrol bike, except speed is non-existent. It's low and it's tiny. Technically, you could use it to basically never get caught, and it's also immune to road spikes. A few vehicles have that distinction. The bikes do. So, but you don't use it over the patrol bike, and then you can't use it to go anywhere from point A to point B, even mid-range, because it's just too slow over like the Camaro, which is significantly better, and it's free. Anyway, and it's basically the same story with the ATV, also right next to it. Again, basically a worse patrol bike, probably worse, but I'm not ranking these in order because it doesn't really matter. If you're using these down here, you're using them for fun, not for any practical use. I'm gonna put this here. So again, literally the same thing, except that it's actually worse because you can't zoom around as fast after the initial launch, and it's also a little bigger of a vehicle, but they're both tiny, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's no moving on spikes, but I could be wrong about that. And then we have the stunt plane here, which again, it's the same story as these two. It's a version of a vehicle that's significantly better, but it's worse, and it just so happens to be so bad in comparison that it's just you don't use it. It's, if I'm not mistaken, the slowest vehicle in the game overall. So and then sure, it flies and you're invincible, so you could technically grab it and then just not get caught. But then if you're trying to use it like in any practical situation where you're not completely alone, the takeoff is so long to where it actually matters, like a lot, because it's like 2 or 3 times the time, 2 times longer than the jet takeoff, which is already not that long, but also like it's on the edge of being long. It's weird. I will explain that in due time. But again, other than those 3 vehicles, and then the glitched vehicles such as the Doom Buggy and Glitch Volt, which I will rank on Glitch Volt, and then the water vehicles. Every other vehicle in this game is good. It's good. I don't really have anything else to say. And after some thinking, the vehicle I'm going to put the very, very bottom is the pickup truck, simply because it's a it's a better version of the Camaro. And one thing I will mention, I'm not taking price into account, but you're paying $9,000 for 2 seats in a bigger vehicle. So technically, really, it's worse, but it doesn't really matter because they're pretty much the same vehicle. So everything that I'm gonna say about the vehicle truck also applies to Camaro. It's just a mediocre vehicle in terms of everything. Again, it's not bad. If you upgrade to level 5, it can be used, but you don't really have any reason to use any of these vehicles over anything else higher. But they're not completely terrible at all, not even close, really. Again, like I said, they're still technically good, especially considering it doesn't really take much for you to even get them. So again, that's fine. Pretty good top speed, relatively good top speed, higher top speed than a lot of vehicles in this game. Like, most vehicles outspeed them, but like, it's gonna be faster than quite a few things I'm gonna put a bit higher on here, so that's pretty nice, especially for a free vehicle. Just gotta upgrade it to level 5, and then you get a good vehicle. Next, I'm also gonna put the Deja down here because I know everyone's gonna get mad at me, but like in practical use, you don't drift with slower vehicles in any practical situation. That's a fun thing, and we're not talking about fun here. No, there is no fun allowed here. No. So yeah, it's basically just better Bruck car, but it's slower on top speed. It doesn't matter because their acceleration is significantly better. It's the same story with the Ray. They're released together for a reason. Similar vehicles, except Ray doesn't have really good drift. But like, again, literally just better Bruck cars that trade in top speed for acceleration, which is very valuable, very good, very nice. Vehicle I am going to put next. I may butcher the lower part of this list a bit hard. I really hope I get everything right in terms of the stats and stuff. But next, I'm gonna put the Jeep down here. It's free, just like the Camaro, except it's better because in every way. Again, it's pretty much like the other two vehicles, except that it's free. Which, again, I'm not really taking price into account here, but also it's free. So either way, it goes here. You could probably swap these three around, but they all have to go above the Camaro because they're literally better versions of it. And then next, another vehicle that I'm pretty sure with top speed that's slower than the Camaro. It's a classic. Again, really good acceleration and launch, especially launch. Better than all other vehicles. And it's just not that good for super long travel, but if you're only really going mid-distance, like you're staying around in the city, even from the museum directly to the base, which is why most people even use it anyway, it's not half bad, not even close. It's pretty decent. Top speed is meh, but you know. Okay. What's next? A lot of vehicles gonna be in mid tier. Topping off low tier. I really only think the SUV and the Raptor go here. Now, I will clarify that no, I do not own the Raptor, but I've been told multiple times by many people who do that it is equivalent to the SUV. If this can be tested and given me video evidence of it, then okay, I will change accordingly. But if you don't have said video evidence, then well, I mean, this is where it is going to be until then. Okay, so yeah, basically again more mediocre vehicles, but you know, they have seats, and it's not a huge thing unless you have one seat where you can't carry any passengers, or there's a ton of seats. But hey, again, it's a legitimate thing, a legitimate niche. It used to be a lot better before a ton of other vehicles here at it with seats, and that are also really, really good in terms of overall stats. So that's a thing. Starting off mid-tier, it's kind of weird because there are a couple of vehicles here that I want to put here, but I also want to put in low tier, kind of like last time. So the bottom of mid tier can either be top of low or bottom of mid. I'm gonna start the fire truck, another vehicle a lot of people like to use for fun. That actually is really, really fast. Like, it's really fast, but it never gets there, ever. It never gets to the super fast speeds that put it above many, many, many vehicles that are going to be above it. But it literally never gets there, ever. Unless you use rocket fuel. And you don't have infinite rocket fuel unless you're spending a ton of Robux. And if you're doing that, you might as well put that towards another vehicle, so. But, you know, I mean, it's also a pretty big, but, you know, I don't really think that matters too much. Right above it, again, I don't really know if this is low mid or high low, is the SWAT van. Again, it's another really mediocre vehicle that has a minigun and also costs 400 Robux, and it's not worth that Robux just for the vehicle, but you don't buy it for that, you buy it for the riot shield. Anyway, again, yeah, not much to say about it, just mediocre stats all around. Pretty sure it's better than everything else below it, but again, you know, I haven't exactly yet done the extraordinarily extensive tiring testing on every vehicle in the game yet. But I do know most of this stuff, so that's nice. Next, another vehicle that I don't really know if it should be in low or mid, but I am confident this is the last one that will be in that limbo, is the Mustang. So, you know, pretty solid, you know, not bad. You know, it's pretty solid, still a mediocre vehicle, pretty unstable with low frame rates. So if you're a 20 FPS gamer, I recommend you don't try and use this vehicle, but you can't buy it anymore anyway, so. Okay, now I'm confident that every other vehicle I'm gonna put in mid-tier is actually in mid-tier. Start with the Porsches, the Boxer and Old Porsche. Old Porsche is strictly better. It's literally faster, not by enough to put it higher than next to each other, but it is just better. But they're still basically just mediocre vehicles that are just better than everything else below it. Again, nothing that really stands out about it. Boxer's a nice spawn, which is at the museum, so that's pretty nice. So, again, not too much to say about it. So, so yeah. I'm gonna put the Wraith above it. Again, it's still, so many of these vehicles are good, but they're also just at the same time mediocre too. I'm not trying to say that in a bad way, but like basically better SWAT van. It's literally a better SWAT van. I'm pretty sure it has like similar stat distribution across the board, just better. As well, it's a car, which a Rolls Royce, it's a minigun. Okay. Again, not really too much I can do. I really don't want to put it this low, but I have to address an important problem with this vehicle, and that vehicle is the monster truck. First, it's not slow. Stop saying it's slow. It's not slow, people. It's really fast. It has like, it's kind of like the fire truck, except it actually gets to top speed sometimes. The problem with it is that two things. It's outclassed by another vehicle, and that one vehicle, it happens to be the best or second best in the game because tons of seats. That was its niche, and it still is its niche, but it basically just got overthrown by that. So it's not as unique anymore with the power creep of the game. And second, more importantly, you see the vehicle is actually really, really bouncy. Like, not like you're lagging bouncy, but like if you turn a bit too hard, the wheels will start bouncing all over the chassis and stuff. So, and sometimes, like, especially if you're on high suspension at higher speeds, it's just it's not super stable. You can definitely control it, most definitely. But like, when that happens, and stuff like that happens, weird stuff like that happens to vehicles, there has to be a justification for that, right? And there is no real justification for using the monster truck with that little problem it has. So, far from a bad vehicle. Too many people underrate it. It has good stats, but people just don't want to use it. It could also run over most vehicles in the game just by existing, so that's a real plus. So. A lot of things in this game are absolutely stacked. Next, I'm going to put the Mini Cooper, because the Mini Cooper is really good. It's like the first just straight up good vehicle here on this list. It's small and nimble, really nice, really cool. It's pretty fast. It's not blindingly fast, not even close, but hey, it was like 25k. It was meant to replace, in a Deja, replaced it, and Mini Cooper still reigns supreme by like 10 spots. So, just a solid vehicle all around. Not much else to really say about it, other than it's a nimble vehicle. It's one of those small nimble vehicles that are just really easy to control. And I would definitely recommend it if it was still buyable, but most people that have it probably have better stuff now, unfortunately. But it's still a really fun vehicle, and it's a really good vehicle. So, and we're here to rank vehicles on how good they are. My bias does not exist. If my bias, there would be some really good vehicles down here. So, next on this list of vehicles, I'm torn between two vehicles on where to put them relative to each other, because they're both really good, but one of them has better stats and one of them has a really good ability. So I'm going to, well, okay, so I'm hoping I'm not getting my facts wrong. So first of all, we're gonna put the DeLorean here, and then we're going to put the McLaren next to it, and we'll explain them in tandem. First of all, the DeLorean, we all know that it can glide over water. It's a really cool ability. It is pretty useful, but it's not a deal breaker. If you're trying to decide whether or not to buy this vehicle, the last thing you should be thinking about, you should be thinking of its ability to drive over water first. It's nice at times, but it's not like it's not, you don't want it over good stats. It's not that good of an ability like that. It's still good, still solid, it still definitely carries it up here quite a bit, but its stats are more important than the ability itself, because, for example, like flying and ability that are all like helicopters and stuff like that, you want that over the stats because you fly over everything. You see, driving over water in a game where water vehicles aren't even useful at all is mildly convenient at best on a consistent basis. So it's nice. Also, one thing I must mention, when you drive on water, it still gets slowed down a lot, like with any other vehicle that drives underwater, so you don't like keep your speed and stuff when you're driving over the water, so the ability is not as good as you might think. For that reason, you still get slowed down, so it just helps you not get stuck underwater, which is not super common anyway, unless you're in a place where you probably shouldn't be underwater anyway, but you know. And then we have the McLaren, which is basically DeLorean but better, because it has just better stats everywhere, but it doesn't have the ability, but you know. The McLaren, everyone rips on it for not being a super good vehicle for its price. It's so bad. Like, dude, okay. First of all, 300k isn't that much. Second of all, we're not taking your price here. Third of all, it's retired. And fourth, it is better than all these vehicles, and it's just a solid vehicle. It's just really solid. There's not too much else to say about it. And then, well, yeah, not really much else. If I'm correct, the Model 3 has slightly better stats than all these vehicles as well. It's been a solid vehicle ever since it's been released. One of the most consistent vehicles of all time, considering how long it's been out. So, again, always a solid choice. It's not super good like it used to be, but it's still really good, you know. Not too much else to say about it other than the fact that it's an electric vehicle, so it naturally has good acceleration, but like if you're a 20 FPS gamer, you probably shouldn't use any of the electric vehicles at all. Just a bad idea, you know? Very bad idea. So, next, we're nearing the end of mid-tier, boys. We're nearing the end of mid-tier. I'm gonna put... Yeah, okay. We're gonna put the R8 here. Literally just, again, balanced stats all around. And just better than these two vehicles before it. By far. It just outclasses them. Not really much else to say about it. It's a solid vehicle, you know. There's lots of really solid vehicles. And then we have the BMW i8, which is literally just a better R8. All these 4 vehicles are pretty similar. It's just that it's just rank the McLaren's the worst of them, memes the best of them, just due to stats alone. Not too much to say about it. Congratulations to everyone who got level 10 last season. It was pretty tight if you didn't get the season pass. So yeah. Closing out mid-tier. Now, I know everyone is going to get mad at me for putting such a quote-unquote terrible vehicle so high, but the ability to heal yourself literally anywhere is a bit more useful than you might think. And yes, the infinite health glitch is patched, but okay, this vehicle has a definite niche, right? That, okay, it can heal you, right? No, nothing else can do that, right? The ambulance. But and if you're alone, then you don't use the vehicle at all. It goes way down here if you're alone, because force field gun exists, number 1, and 2, well, you can just get shot and then you don't heal that fast. But if you're in a group, for example, I do think the niche is very powerful where you can just heal like that. Now, out of every placement on this entire list, maybe I'm tripping on this one, but I do believe in the niche of this vehicle. I do believe in it. So, and also infinite health glitch is patched. I wouldn't have ranked it based on that anyway. But then closing out mid-tier. Closing out mid-tier is this thing. Because, okay, so first of all, it's a bike. It's already really small. You aren't really ejecting it if it's rooming. Second, it's immune to road spikes, as are all the bikes chassis, you know. It's immune to road spikes. It's actually really important for a vehicle that's always going to be on the ground. It's actually very important. Third of all, its acceleration and launch are really good, as is with all the bikes. And fourth, and most importantly, and it's why it's up here so high, its top speed is not bad. It's really good. It's not as good as many of these other vehicles, but it basically, you have all the evasiveness of a little bike, and you have the speed of a vehicle that's good mid-range, and even long-range sometimes, if you don't mind waiting a little longer than some of the more powerful vehicles. It's solid all around, forever, and acceleration is extremely important in this game, so. In the road spike community, it's just that it's icing on the cake, but it's a hell of a lot of icing. That can be very useful sometimes, especially in an era where you have auto robbers popping tires and stuff. It's pretty useful. Okay, now there's one vehicle that I'm not sure whether it's not in mid or high. It may be a little bit lower than this, but flying is absurdly dumb, so I'm gonna put it in the top of mid tier. I know it's we're closing it out, but default heli. The flying vehicle, it's a flying vehicle. And flying vehicles are dumb, and heli dropping is absurd, and like I can make an entire video on why flying is stupid. I don't want to explain it too in depth here, but flying basically just gives you close to invincibility, actually, if you're smart enough with it. Now, to be fair, it is very possible for you to get caught to hell and back with this thing, because it is slower than all the other flying vehicles except the stunt plane, of course, but you don't use this because of this and this. So yeah, but it's still beyond solid. So, again, no reason to not use it. Let's change that real quick. Cuties. Okay. Yeah, I really don't want this on my screen. There it is, gone. Very scuffed, I know, but I've done a lot of looking into this. Now, at the bottom of high tier, another vehicle, everyone's gonna be mad at me. Put the two vehicles back to back. We're gonna put the UFO. It's literally a better default heli. It could easily be here as well, but, and actually, considering, I am going to be here mostly for damage control, because I don't want you to get mad at me. It is just a better default heli. It could be better if, you know, its hitbox was a bit fixed, because it extends out a bit, but, like, it's faster, has better, acceleration, of course, and it's more nimble, which is very, very important when you're in the air, and that's your only limitation. You do need to be able to make those sharp turns, and this thing can definitely do it. So, it's just better default heli. That's it. The only thing worse about it is its spawn, but if you're going to get it, you're going to be keeping it. So, like, it doesn't matter too much. It does matter a bit. Okay, now. We start off high tier with, again, how I started it off last time. I'm gonna do it again. Say it with me, Cybertruck. And again, well, first of all, it's a Tesla, and by proxy, good acceleration. It actually has really pretty good off-road, unlike all the other Tesla vehicles, which I thought I'd mention just because. And then everything else is good. Its top speed is really good. It can see a lot of people, which is why you're going to be using this vehicle in the first place. You're buying it because it has a lot of seats, and it has good stats with those seats, so it does its job really well. So not too much else to say about it. It's a really solid vehicle. I do think it deserves its spot in high tier and on any list, though definitely at the bottom. And then last time, I put the Cirrus next to it, but this time, I'm actually going to put the Arachnid next to it, simply because, basically take the Cybertruck, give it better stats, and better off-road, but take away, no, yeah, better stats, I think, better off-road, but take away its seats. I do think it goes here, because they feel similar, right? They're pretty similar. I'm pretty sure the Arachnid does better stats overall, but less seats, of course, which doesn't matter too much, but its stats simply don't drive it super high. So yeah. I'm gonna make sure to, you know, not mess up. You see, I didn't mess up. It's basically a signature. Gonna go over it really quick. Challenger, very good vehicle. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of high tier. I'm about high top of my tier. Not my tier. I'm talking about. Really, really solid vehicle. Simply not better than these two though. So yeah, forget that happened. I'm not starting over the recording because of one little mistake. This thing is super solid though. The best starter vehicle to ever exist, in my opinion. That is my opinion. I mean, I do think it's pretty objective that it's like the best vehicle to buy out straight off if you're going to, since you're going to be going for level 5 engine anyway. It's pretty good without it. Now we continue. Next, I'm gonna put the little bird here after the Arachnid. I mean, of course, it's another better default heli, but also better than the UFO because better spawn and a bit more nimble, and then it also can do the cargo ship better, which is a little known thing, little small thing, because all the helis can do it pretty fine. So yeah, that's nice, and it's good for existing. It's a small helicopter. You aren't really getting shot down. It can go pretty much wherever it wants. Big downside of it is that its travel time isn't, you know, as good as, you know, a lot of these other vehicles can get places faster, but it's also everything else solid, very good, very worth it. Now, from this point on, we get into the big boy vehicles. These vehicles are really good. They do not deserve to be in top tier. The ones I'm going to talk about, but they are a cut above the rest of the vehicles. No question. We will start with what I like to call the Lamborghini, but simply known as the Lamborghini and the Ferrari. They are very similar, except the Ferrari is strictly better because it has better acceleration, while the Lamborghini has better top speed, and acceleration is more important than top speed. But they are very similar vehicles every other way. Pretty much do the same thing for you. One is 100k more, but like it's better, and also price doesn't really matter that much. So yeah, a bit tough. Also a bit tough ranking that in comparison to the Cirrus, which it could also go. It goes here or here depending on whether or not you think it has really good performance. It competes with the Lambo and the Ferrari, but I'm pretty sure it's slightly not as good. But it also has the seats, and that's pretty nice too, because that is pretty useful. It's a legitimate reason to use it, right? Yes, but the one thing that I will talk about that puts it here for me, right? For me and most people, actually, I do think it is objectively here, is because the body roll. Again, it's a small thing, like I talk about with the monster truck. If you turn too sharp, too carelessly, too fast, you will roll over, and that is very big. But one, it can be controlled, and two, that downside is most definitely worth the upside of a really, really fast vehicle that can seat 4 people. Very few vehicles can do that. Most of the really good vehicles can only seat 2. Next, we have the Molten M12, which is strictly a better Lambo. It's a Lamborghini, and that's strictly better than this. And the Ferrari is also similar, just by proxy, just better than both. Same top speed, but better acceleration, and really, really good launch. So again, not much else to say other than it's a really good car. Also, make sure to always use high suspension on it since it's pretty low to the ground. But it's a really, really solid vehicle. Just amazing launch, amazing acceleration, top speed equal to the Lamborghini. So, cheer, high tier, right above it. I said it was a worse Chiron, but it's Chiron still. No, back in the early days of the moon. So, next we have the king himself, the Bugatti Veyron. Top speed, second highest effective top speed after some extensive testing, courtesy of Pumpkin and JBMS server. He has found out that the top speed of the Veyron and the Torpedo are equal, but everything else is strictly worse than the Torpedo, and that actually matters a lot. It matters a ton. So it does go down here in high tier, very near the top of high tier, but it is a solid vehicle. It is the original king of vehicles, and it still holds up today. In 2021, after close to 3 years of being out, so again, really solid vehicle. Really fun vehicle. So again, like I said, fun doesn't matter here. And the top off high tier. Joking, no. Blade goes here. Again, really solid. Really solid flying vehicle. Nothing special about it. Out of all the generic flying vehicles, it is by far the best. Though it does have the downside of having a height limit. But in most cases, that doesn't really matter. Since if you want a vehicle that can go infinite height, you choose the Little Bird. If you don't have money, or you just choose the other 2 vehicles. So it's really not that hard. It's still solid, really fast. Definitely needed that downside to be balanced, though. So it did get a speed nerf, a pretty significant one in comparison to the Blade, because the Blade was really, really good because it was really, really fast. But so yeah. Now, the final vehicle in top tier is not in top tier because, well, it's not the best in the game. No, stop. It is at the top of high tier. Glitchless Volt is here. Glitchless Volt is still good. Everyone says that Glitched Volt is super broken and super good. That is true. Not ranking Glitched Volt. Everyone says that Glitchless Volt is super bad, super useless. That is wrong. I am ranking Glitchless Volt. Glitchless Volt is at the top of high tier because it's basically Glitched Volt, but harder to use, which doesn't really matter. And also, you can eject people riding it, and you shouldn't really be ranking any vehicles that you can't get ejected from, because that just ruins the balance of the vehicle system in this game. We don't need that. So yeah, that's how it works here. So top of high tier. Top of high tier. Now, the top 5 vehicles in the game, the big 5 in this game, honestly. The big 5. Nothing really touches these 5. I do think that these 5 are significantly better than every other vehicle in the game. And I will explain why. First, we start with the Roadster. It is the best overall acceleration in the game of a car. The best acceleration to speed ratio in the game. And yeah. So first I must address the Roadster's tendency to fling. If you're a 20 FPS gamer, please don't use this vehicle. It will pretty much happen all the time. If you are not a 20 FPS gamer and you have a good system that can run Jailbreak at 60, 40, 50, 60 FPS, even 30 if you don't drop a ton, then you're fine with it. It doesn't fling unless you crash or you bump into something, which shouldn't happen. Sure, it is kind of whack. But, first of all, it happens with the Model 3 too. You don't see people complaining about that, do you? No. And 2, it shouldn't happen because you shouldn't be crashing. And if you are crashing with it, then you need to, like, actually get better driving. Because that's not a vehicle problem, that's a you problem. Just because you can crash other vehicles and it's fine doesn't mean, oh, I can't crash with this vehicle is bad. No. With that said, the Roadster is also not top 2, top 3 because it is outclassed. It is not that good. It's better than all the other vehicles by a significant margin, but it is not the best. Not even close to my... No, not even close. Not even close. Not even close. Because... You'll see. But you want to know what is close? Roadster and Torpedo. Because the Torpedo has the highest effective top speed in the game by far. And nothing comes close to it. Like, nothing comes close to it. Except the Veyron, so. So, yeah. Again, the thing with the Roadster and the Torpedo is that one of them specializes in acceleration and short distance travel. Other excels in long distance travel. And you might be saying that, oh, acceleration is better than top speed, right? And to that I say yes. And that's why I think these two are tied. I think these two are legitimately tied. I don't think one is significantly better than the other. I put the Torpedo over here on the list simply because I want to. That's it. I think they are tied. I don't think one of them is better than the other at all. Simply because their drawbacks and strengths equalize. So I do think that that's the case. So again, Torpedo, really good top speed. It has good acceleration, good launch. Everything's just good. Everything about it is good. It's just really solid vehicle that has a really, really good top speed. That just stands out about it. So really solid. Now I'm gonna talk about the Chiron now. The Chiron is pretty much the child of the previous two vehicles because it has the launch has the acceleration of the Roadster actually, and just with a noticeably worse launch, and it has a really good top speed. It is the fastest obtainable vehicle in the game right now by a pretty significant margin too. So what do you get when you couple really, really good acceleration with really, really good speed? A vehicle that's better than both of the two that specialize in each of those, because balance is important. Balance of stats is very important. That's what the Chiron has. It's good in everything. Good at everything. The Roadster will pull away at first, but Chiron catches up. The Torpedo will catch up to the Chiron eventually, but the Chiron will definitely pull away because it has really good top speed. And it will pull away for a pretty decent amount of time too, because its top speed is pretty good. Really good. Again, fastest obtainable vehicle in the game. It is the best car in the game because of its balance of stats. It's really good in everything. Now, with that said, I did say the best car by far, but I didn't say the best vehicle because it is not. We have the two Juggernauts that are the flying vehicles, and I will talk about flying in depth and how it messes with the balance of the game one day. That day is not today. I will just say that flying is stupid, but when you couple flying with offensive utility, consistent offensive utility, mind you, you get these two beasts. Now, I will talk about the Black Hawk first because I do think it is second in the game. I do think the jet is the best in the game. But I do say think because I do think, I do know for a fact that the Black Hawk could potentially be better than the jet. But as of now, I don't believe that because the jet is absurd in every way. But we will talk about that. The Black Hawk, a pretty fast helicopter. The second fastest heli-like vehicle. The third fastest flying vehicle, and the second fastest isn't that much faster. It's big, which makes it easier to shoot down, but not by enough for it to matter because you have missiles. So the deal with missiles is that you basically just kill everything, and unless you're being swarmed, it doesn't really matter. And you can also like jump from the heli after shooting missiles to finish people off. It's like people don't really do the optimal things, but that's fine. So yeah, it's beyond solid vehicle. It's the best or second best in the game by far. I don't think these two are really close to any of these other vehicles in terms of overall utility and everything, because utility is important, and most of these vehicles don't really have utility like these two, because offensive utility is a really good thing. Not having to get out to fight is great. So yeah, and again, it's fast. People like to say it's slow, but it's not. It's big, but that really doesn't matter too much because it's not like the map or places on the map are too small for it. It's big, yeah, which really only matters when you're trying to shoot it down, which does matter, but not when you can, you know, missile them while being shot down and then jump out if you do get shot down and finish them off. It's really not that hard. So yeah, I think it's here. But I know it's top 2. It's definitely one of the best vehicles this game has seen, and it most definitely changed how people play this game. It definitely changed the meta when it got missiles. Definitely, for sure. Very important. And then we have the best vehicle in the game, only touchable by the Black Hawk, the jet. Before I get into talking about the jet, I must say that no, the jet isn't bad. Shut up. But in a more calm manner, I will explain why it is not bad by addressing what people like to say about it being bad. The main argument for it being bad is that it is hard to use. That is simply untrue for this one reason. Just because you are bad at using something does not mean the vehicle itself is bad. You can be bad at using something, but that doesn't mean the vehicle or thing itself is bad. It doesn't mean it. And it's not like nobody can use it, because I use it. I know plenty of people that use this and use it to its full potential, and it completely outclasses everything else in almost every way. Very close to every way. It has insane travel time because it is the fastest flying vehicle. You did hear me right. Flying is stupid in this game, and people say the fastest flying vehicle in the game is bad, but that's not all. It has missiles that can one-hit KO you upon direct hit, but more consistently do 50 to 80 damage consistently per missile, one of them. Yeah, try and digest that in your brain, because yeah, and you might be saying, oh, it's impossible for me to hit it, and to that I say it's not impossible to hit it, because if I can hit it, and if plenty of other people that I know can hit them consistently, then you can do it too. And if you're bad at it, that's fine. Just you shouldn't be saying it's bad because you don't know how to use it. That's fine. To address its takeoff time, it's about 2 to 3 seconds, which is not that long. But if it is too long for you, you can kamikaze yourself. So basically, you don't get arrested. And if dying is super bad for you, then, well, honestly, you get to choose between dying or getting arrested in that case. And you should. And this goes for every vehicle. But it is especially important with the jet or any of the lower tier vehicles. You shouldn't be taking off in a vehicle where there are enemies around it. You just shouldn't be doing that. You should be making sure it is safe for you to leave and enter the vehicle, because once you get ejected from a vehicle, your chance of getting arrested right afterwards or getting killed right afterwards is extremely high. So, because you can't always react immediately afterwards. Sometimes, like, if you can, then congratulations, you're just really good, congrats. But sometimes the game doesn't let you, depending on what you're playing on and stuff. So, but either way, just you have to make sure to do that. Very important with the jet though, and the stunt by proxy, but the stunt is too slow for it to really be used, though it is invincible. Anyway, enough about that. Again, jet, beyond solid, the best vehicle in the game if people completely develop it. As of right now, most people would say the Black Hawk is the best in the game, and I can't really disagree with that. It's just it has so many dumb things. Both of these vehicles are just really dumb. They fly, and one last very important point: the jet can't be shot down. By the way, the only way to defeat a jet user that's in the air is to shoot them while they're flying, and that is a lot harder said than done, since the jet driver can position themselves to where they're not facing you, even though they're still flying around you, so you literally cannot shoot them. And also, again, fastest flying vehicle in the game. It is very, very difficult to consistently snipe jet users out of the air with any weapon. Good luck doing it. Not completely impossible, but with that said, if that is the counter to the jet, and that is that hard to do, I do think it definitely deserves its spot as the best vehicle in the entire game. Speaking of the jet, I will be talking about it more in the future, but this is my list, and I do think, I'm trying to not be self-centered here, but I do think that this is an objective list with very, very little error. I do think that some things could possibly be moved. I do think that this top tier and high tier are 100% solid. I don't see the top and high tier being moved at all. The mid tier I do think is very solid, and the low mid tier I do think it can be messed with a little bit, but I tried to make this list as objective and informational as possible, leaving out all my bias, because I do have bias towards some of these vehicles. I do like, for example, I main the torpedo and the jet. I do have reason for thinking the jet is the best. I promise you. I have bias towards cars in general. I use I like the Veyron a lot. I have heavy bias against glitched English as well. I don't like I don't like the Black Hawk at all. I don't like this vehicle. This is the only vehicle I truly dislike, and I still believe it's up here. My bias does not exist. I try to make this as objective as possible. If you don't agree with me, then please give me your reason for not agreeing, and maybe we can work something out. I'm not perfect, but I do think this is as close to an objective list as you can get. So many people put lists either based on opinion and present it as fact, which if it's an opinionated list, please present it as an opinion list. That is perfectly fine. Or they just don't know enough. They try to rank vehicles and stuff, and they just don't know enough about everything. But I've spent a ton of time learning and using a lot of these vehicles, and I think I've done a good job at presenting at why I believe these vehicles are where they are. So that's all I really have to say. So goodbye, I guess. Thank you for watching for however long this recording has been going. I don't really know, but thanks. So, bye.